This is the worst podcast you'll ever hear on Thanksgiving, because we are here today on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I'm here.
Wow. That was a turkey.
That was not a turkey. That was a dying turkey, a sick turkey. Okay, I was caught off guard on that one right there. It's a day. It's a special day because it is Thanksgiving, and I did say that this is the worst podcast you'll ever hear on Thanksgiving, because one of the fond memories of Thanksgiving that I have from the past couple of years. Let's flash back to 2014 Thanksgiving.
I love this story.
We were blessed with the greatest piece of audio content of all time, the CM Punk and Colt Cabana Art of Wrestling podcast. What a time. It was fantastic. I listened to that thing like twice that day. It was awesome. When it dropped, we were on Skype and we were freaking out, marking out like bananas, like, wow, CM Punk is talking, holy crap. Like, people were leaving the calls just to listen to it. It was a big deal, and that would be the last thing I'd talk about that podcast, because that happened on Thanksgiving. Another thing that happened on Thanksgiving was the year before that, 2013, when CM Punk was in the Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade, and he had a Ferris Bueller get up. He had the WWE title. It was a great day. And that's my Thanksgiving memories. Luke, Ryan, what about you guys? Wow, that's a great story. Okay, so let's move on. No, honestly, do you guys have something?
Yeah, I have a pretty fond Thanksgiving memory. It was actually a couple hours ago. Luke and I were on Skype for a couple hours.
All right, so
just jacking it up, talking it up. It was great podcast material. I don't know why we waited. But...
Well,
yeah, and you know what? I'd have to excuse you, sir.
Excuse me, it's Thanksgiving. You gotta be thankful for me. I'm the one that's recording
this podcast. You know what? I'll be
eternally
grateful if you'd shut the fuck up. So, yeah, Thanksgiving, I don't have anything to share. So let's get into Survivor Series weekend, which we have not covered yet because it was just this past weekend.
Okay, well, let's talk about this. Okay, there was one person in the call that was there. Or, I'm sorry, on the podcast.
Yeah, Ryan, how was it?
Overall, good show, fun time. I can't wait to talk about Nakamura and Seth Rollins later.
That's right, because you know all about it.
Well, we're not going to talk about it that much because Luke was there. Luke, what did you think about the NXT show in general? Because I thought that was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I mean, Triple H was patting himself on the back for being able to have 4 matches for it was damn near 3-hour show, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
It'll go down as a classic, and it truly does show you that less is more. And there was at least 2 5-star matches out of the 4, at least. I mean, I don't think people would agree, but in my opinion, Gargano and Black was match of the night for me as far as like the best pure wrestling match goes. But I probably had the most fun with the War Games match. Obviously, it was really cool to see that live. Even though I wish I had a side view. I was facing directly at the stage, so at times it would look like just one ring almost, and it really I didn't get to see the visual that I would have liked, but it was cool. I had great seats, riser seats, and it was insane. The Ricochet going off the top was, oh my god, I was so stunned. I had my hands on my face and my head, and I was in total shock. I wish I would have recorded my reaction, but yeah, overall, very fun show.
Well,
and we're moving on to Survivor Series now.
Well, no, seriously, yeah. I mean, there's really not much left to talk about it. I mean, it's days after the event, so there's really nothing else that we have left to say. It wasn't NXT. Didn't NXT happen on Wednesday or something?
What?
Isn't there a show that Matt Riddle wrestled Cassius Ohno or something?
Oh, right. So that was actually the beginning of.
No, there was supposed to be an actual match on NXT television.
Oh.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Right?
Did that happen?
No.
Oh. Well, what the heck? All right, well, Ryan, what did you think of NXT? Did you even watch it? I don't even know if you watched it. Okay, what did you think?
Aleister Black and Gargano was the best match of the night. Easily.
See, you both have said that. Now I want to go back and rewatch this match because I really didn't pay attention.
Like I said before, of course. So we will talk about the War Games. That in itself was just ridiculous, seeing those guys. But the fact fact that Gargano and Black tore the house down was pretty cool too. So I don't know, just crazy looking at the show card where all those guys were just 5 years ago.
That's true. Well, moving from one show to the other, Survivor Series was the next day, and Luke was also at that show. Luke, what was your favorite or most memorable match from that show?
Oh man, I was really excited for Nakamura and Rollins, and it turned out just to be good. But it was still nice to see. And Bryan and Brock was probably it was my favorite singles match. And as far as anything more than that, the 5-on-5 men's match was really fun. So those three stick out. Also, Charlotte and Ronda was really good. That was probably one of the greatest women's matches I've seen. And you had the turn, double turn, what seemed like a double turn anyway. Those matches stick out. Everything else was either forgettable or not worth talking about.
Ryan, did you end up watching the whole show or just some matches?
No, I watched the whole show.
Okay.
Overall, I completely agree with Luke's. I thought the crowd was freaking man, there's a line that I feel like some crowds cross, and I feel like they crossed it with the Rousey and Charlotte match when they were just they were tearing Ronda apart. And even Corey Graves said on commentary, oh, not a sympathetic crowd here in LA. It's obviously not, but this is ridiculous. I get being a harsh crowd or whatever, just living up your gimmick, I guess. But I'm good God, I feel like they crossed a line.
I was confused because, well, I guess it's because people sided with Becky and the whole Ronda-Becky feud, and therefore they love Becky so much they hated Ronda. But I don't know. They were giving her Nia heat almost, like Ronda was doing something wrong. But I got to say, I've gone to the Staples Center quite a few times over the years for shows, and that had to be the loudest, most engaging crowd that I've ever been a part of at the Staples Center. The last one I can remember was SummerSlam 2011 when you had Punk and Cena and all that. But yeah, that was something else.
I just was not a fan of the whole, I don't know, the whole gimmick of tearing Ronda apart. I was good God, that would suck to be her.
I was not part of that, for the record.
Well, that's good to be on the record for. Speaking of on the record, I would like to go on the record to say that Brock and Daniel Bryan match was one of the best Brock matches I've seen, alongside the Mania 31 match and the John Cena versus Brock Extreme Rules match, his first match back.
No love for AJ, I guess.
See, I forgot about that match. I know it happened, but I don't remember it like I do the other two matches. That might be something to do with the fact that I was at both of those shows. But I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that Daniel Bryan match because at the beginning, I feel like they knew that everyone was gonna expect here we go, we got Brock just throwing on Daniel Bryan, blah blah blah, this is gonna suck, and then all of a sudden Bryan kicks Brock in the head, and now it's it's go time, this is gonna be awesome, and from that point on it was just bam 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 bam, and then we got hit by a deer with the whole F5 1 2 3, and I was that sucks, but that match was so good, the match was so much fun that I kind of forgot about the ending, and I was actually able to end the show on a good note. So that was I like that match.
I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention, but the Daniel Bryan Brock Lesnar match, that had the same formula, in my opinion, as the Styles Lesnar match. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Where it started off with Bryan getting his ass kicked, just started off with AJ getting his ass kicked, and it got to the point where you're come on already, stop getting your ass kicked and fight back. And then eventually got some offense in, and then it went back and forth, with ultimately Brock getting the win at the end. So it was almost the same formula as AJ and Brock, but still a lot of fun. And I had an old man sitting next to me, and Daniel Bryan was on the floor, and the guy leans over and says, "So the guy on the floor, is that the scumbag?" And he was with his grandsons, and he made the show a lot of fun. But good times. It was my first Survivor Series. Finally completed the Big Four, and I can finally retire. I mean, no.
Well, you can't retire because you have to come back next year to Chicago because me and Ryan and a bunch of other people, I don't know about Ryan, I don't know about me either, but it's coming to Chicago next year, so that's big news. That's big news for me. I don't know about everybody else, but it's big news for me. That means that shout out to Chicago for having like an important pay-per-view, because I feel like every time like we get Payback or Extreme Rules or Payback or Extreme Rules or Backlash. So, you know, it's good to have a big name show once in a while in Chicago, because we can't get Mania. Anyway.
You got it 10 years ago.
You've only had 3 Manias.
Yeah, 3 Manias, and the last one was 2006, Luke, and that was in the Allstate Arena. And then after that, you know what was after that? That was WrestleMania 23. Right after that, one of the best WrestleManias of all time.
St. Louis gotten.
Yeah, well, St. Louis is trash, so we don't have to go into it. Anyway,
that'll make our Missouri listeners very happy.
Yeah, way to go! Thanks, Mike. Thanks.
The demographic.
You guys can check out the Luke and Ryan podcast starting next week.
Coming soon.
The logo will be like the St. Louis Blues and the Cardinals like logos like mushed together. That'll be like the logo of your guys' podcast. Anyway.
Speaking of Chicago, there's your segue.
For what? What are we segueing to?
The breaking news of exclusive details.
Are we jumping right into it?
Yeah, man. We got exclusive. Only on this podcast would you get this information, which isn't true at all, but it sounded really great.
It does sound great, because basically I woke up this morning to a text from the other, co-host of this show that's never here, Tommy, who's never here. And basically he said, basically it's happening. And I was like, what the heck is that supposed to mean? And then he said like AE Wrestling or something like that, and I was like,
oh my god, you don't even know it. It's AEW. Get with it.
No, like that was like the text, and I was like, what the heck does AE Wrestling mean? And apparently that it was a Twitter account for a future wrestling promotion. It's called All Elite Wrestling, otherwise known as AEW, and there was trademarks that were filed in the state of Florida for All Elite Wrestling, AEW, AEW Double or Nothing, and AEW All Out, as well as, which is kind of random, but I'll take it, Tuesday Night Dynamite. What this means, and the first article that I read basically was tying this back to the Chris Jericho Jim Ross story from a couple months ago or whatever, but essentially a follow-up is that they have nothing to do with it other than the fact that they would be talent if they were needed, and Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks are essentially working behind the scenes to make a wrestling company. And I basically woke up this morning with a brand new favorite wrestling promotion. I'm excited about this because what this means is like the creative minds that are Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, they're going to basically come together once again to have an actual promotion. Now this spawns a lot of questions from me, and we can kind of talk about this. Does this mean that they have to be tied to this company for at least 5 years, I would think, right? There's no way they're going to do this for a year or two and then leave, right? They have to, if they want this to be a legit thing, they got to stay for 5 years or longer. I mean, does anyone have any, reason not to believe that?
No, are we allowed to speak?
I was getting there, Ryan. You ruined it. Go ahead.
No, I didn't. I really didn't have anything to say. They're gonna have to, if they want to keep a reputation, they're gonna have to stick with it. If they don't want it to they've already got a good reputation, but if they don't want it to diminish something, they're gonna have to stick with it for a while.
Yeah, it's really weird because I was almost certain that they were heading to WWE. They're all in their early to mid 30s now, and you would think that it'd be the time to pull the trigger now, especially given their recent major success. I don't know. Maybe they could start it up for a year or two and then just leave it be, and it'll function in some form without them while they go to WWE. I mean, they can go to WWE for a year if they wanted to and come back to this promotion and be at the helm of it again. But it is interesting. Is there a list of the trademarks that were filed? Because I'd like to hear those again.
Yes, so the trademarks that were officially filed were All Elite Wrestling, AEW, AEW Double or Nothing, AEW All Out, and then the weird one is Tuesday Night Dynamite, which is like, that's the funniest like spin-off to like an old like WWE like show of all time.
Tuesday Night Titans, yeah.
That's
it's rumored to be a weekly show on Access.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went and for fun, I went to @AEW Wrestling on Twitter.
I follow.
And it's an actual independent wrestling organization from Logansport, Indiana. And they haven't tweeted since 2009. If you want to catch them, you go to myspace.com/actionprowrestling to check them out.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. So you searched up like the old names to see if there was.
Yeah,
like,
they're gonna. I hope they buy these guys out or something, because AEW and AEW Wrestling on Twitter are both taken. So I thought that was kind of funny.
They already have a Twitter account, and I follow it along with a bunch of other people. It's
they do?
AE Wrestling is the Twitter account that 700 people follow, and they currently follow a bunch of arenas. So this could be a fake account. This could not be a fake account. But
let me see. @AE Wrestling. Yep, joined in October 2018. You marks follow it.
I don't know if this is real or not though, because like,
of course it is.
Well, I'm just saying they follow a bunch of arenas. So
they do.
Let me say who they follow. So the first person that they followed was the Sears Center Arena.
There you go. That gives it away right there.
Then they follow the Forum. Then they follow the Pepsi Center, the Wells Fargo Center, the Target Center.
We don't need to go through the whole thing.
Toyota Center.
They follow a lot of arenas, and we don't know why. Yeah.
They follow the Saudi Arabia arena. They follow
Little Caesars.
Here's what I'm thinking, and you guys can say what you will about.
Oh, I will
about this. I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think what's going to happen is they're going to run a show in Memorial Day weekend in Las Vegas and call it Double or Nothing, because it makes sense.
What gave that away?
It makes sense to have Double or Nothing be alongside Las Vegas. And then I think All Out is going to be the year anniversary of All In Chicago, basically the same weekend, Labor Day weekend. So I feel like they're going to do two shows in the same year, and it would make a heck of a lot of sense now after seeing these trademarks. So shout out to me for actually coming up with a take that actually might work out. So that's good.
Shout out to you when it doesn't happen. Oh. No, I think that they should run in Poughkeepsie, New York, because the likelihood of that happening is the same as them running two shows in the same year, Pico. But, we'll see.
Hold on. We need to put... No. I disagree. I think this is going to happen. I truly think this is going to happen. And I will tell you this. The last time I thought something really positive, there was 3 things that I predicted for last year. I thought All In was going to be in Chicago. All In was going to sell out on the first day. And then CM Punk was going to be there. Obviously, CM Punk was not there. But I got 2 out of the 3 right. So that is a win in my book.
Yes, I like the input.
So what I got to say about that.
Here's my next question for you guys. Do you think that they're going to have some kind of partnership with New Japan and Ring of Honor? Because that would be a real blow to Ring of Honor for all these guys to just move over, because you got the main group itself, and then I'm assuming SCU would be a part of it. So do you guys think that they're going to have a partnership?
I think that there's going to be a partnership with New Japan, but I think ROH is going to be a lot more hesitant because it's another American promotion.
Yeah, it's competition.
I mean, they cut that deal with PWG where for a while there that year where no ROH wrestlers could go to PWG. I mean, they have a track record of being hesitant with this stuff. So, final answer.
This morning I would have thought differently, but now that you say that way, I definitely think New Japan, but now I don't think Ring of Honor anymore. So that's kind of sad for Flip Gordon, because Flip Gordon won't be a part of it. But I think
hot take. I'm not Flip Gordon, good guy. Not his biggest fan.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with you there. He's got a lot to prove to me. Only to me, though.
Yeah, no one else, just us.
I mean, it's okay to be wrong, but basically,
I bet you think creamy peanut butter is better than crunchy too. So next topic.
Ooh. Well, you know what?
No.
They're both great, though.
wait a minute. Are we okay? Yeah, because like I prefer creamy peanut butter, but crunchy like once in a while, like I'll have a few peanuts.
You know, and you can prefer the wrong thing too. That's all right. We'll move on.
It'll sure make your shit nutty.
Yeah.
So,
I forgot what I was gonna say now because you guys threw me off the train right there. Yeah, we're at a dead point right now because I totally forgot what I was gonna say. Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Thanks, Mike. I thought you had this planned out.
Is there any other thoughts that you guys have on this thing? Because I feel like there's a lot more that we could talk about. And
here's the thing: there's a lot more we could talk about it. We could dedicate a whole episode to it. But
that's what I thought we were doing.
We're not.
It's Thanksgiving. We got to be thankful for what we're given.
It's also a Wednesday night where I've got good things to do.
Kayfabe.
Just kidding.
Kayfabe. It's Thanksgiving. Come on, Ryan. Be thankful.
No, I honestly, it's 9:41 on a Wednesday night. If we're gonna break the fourth wall.
Oh my gosh.
And I just realized I'm gonna be spending my evening Thanksgiving hours with you guys.
What is that supposed to mean?
How about
What is that supposed to mean? Let me tell you, Ryan. I know you're new here and everything, but back in my day, we would be on here every single Wednesday before Thanksgiving for all the Black Friday deals. We'd buy all the Blu-rays.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear about this story enough earlier. Next topic. Anyway,
I got something. Okay, so a few nights ago, yeah, there was something called LA Confidential, where you had David Arquette versus former prison inmate Nick Gage. Now, there was a death match that they had, and it was very controversial because it was David Arquette's first death match ever. He had just got recently back into pro wrestling after being out of it for 17 years or so. And former WCW World Champion. By the way, go listen to Jake the Snake Roberts on the Joe Rogan podcast, and you get to see Joe Rogan find out that David Arquette was once WCW World Champion. But so Nick Gage puts a light tube. So Nick Gage puts a light tube. You know, those are infamous and gimmick death matches, right? So he puts a light tube over David Arquette's neck, like choking him with it, kind of like you'd see someone with a Singapore cane choking someone with it. And it snaps. The fucking thing breaks off, and a chunk goes right into David Arquette's neck, his jugular, right where the main fucking artery is, I think. And he snaps out of it. He grabs Nick Gage by the neck and starts to shoot on him a little bit. And then he sort of snapped out of it. He was holding his neck because he's bleeding profusely. He tries to pin Nick Gage, and it doesn't work. And then he walks out like he's done with it. Like he's done with the match. But that's the footage that's online. But apparently he did come back and finish the match. But
that's so messed up.
Yeah. He's since released a statement saying that was his first and last, and he attributed the injury going wrong to his lack of experience. What did you guys think about that?
Deathmatch, there's always stuff that happens that isn't good. Like I think it's good on him, and he's doing not doing the right thing, but he's doing the classy thing by just blaming it on himself. He's not trying to get Nick Gage any heat. Like, I'm working with this jackass who snapped a Singapore cane. Like, obviously, it's a spot they had planned out. Like, you're not just going to go in there and do it. But at any point in time, wouldn't you think, maybe this really just isn't the best idea in the world?
Oh, yeah. He realized that shortly after the match. Pico, what did you think about it? Did you see the footage?
I didn't see the footage. I'm looking at a picture of him all bloody right now. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of death matches. So I'm really not, dying to see this, no pun intended, but yeah, it's a death match, and I couldn't care less. And I'm just thinking right now, I don't want to change the subject totally, but I haven't watched Ready to Rumble in maybe 5 years, and I was pretty stupid 5 years ago when it comes to wrestling. I really want to watch it again and see if I get a different opinion on it, because I really liked it the first time.
How's that movie going to change your opinion on him getting a light tube snap?
No, I'm saying not on the match. I'm saying on the movie itself, because I really liked the movie 5 years ago, and will I like it again in a second watch?
Well, on the topic of death matches, which I'm not really a fan of, but to each his own. I don't really want to bury like a genre, so to speak, of pro wrestling. That's sort of one of the ones where it's frowned upon. Death matches, there's a certain niche for it. So I don't want to bury it, but there was one thing that I think it happened in Mexico. I think everyone saw it now, where this guy threw an actual cinder block at another wrestler's head, and it caused the guy to like get a blood clot, and he had to get rushed to the hospital and whatnot. It was like a legit cinder block. Just threw it right at his head. Should have gone to jail for it.
Like when I was like 15 or 16, I thought I loved death match wrestling. And I'll be honest, like deathmatch, it has its place. Like some people love it, and that's the cool thing about wrestling. You don't have to like. There's just multiple types. It's like going to a movie. You can pick whatever genre you want.
Right.
But there's a fine line, and like I said, it's like a movie. Like there's stand-up comedians who take it too far, and then there's deathmatch wrestling that takes it too far, and that just kind of crosses the line where you're like, I'm not a fan of this right now.
Yeah, obviously not a fan of anyone getting seriously injured or resulting in death or permanent injury. So,
well, on the topic of deathmatch wrestling, have you guys seen like the backyard wrestling like clips of like I feel like there was like a YouTube channel that had like crazy death like style matches like a long time ago, and they would use like the light tubes and like the fire and like the barbed wire, but they would like go crazy. Like I'm sure there's like a certain point that you have to go. These people went beyond that point, and I thought that was like the craziest thing because like like what the heck, like those are people. Like what are you doing? Like you're going too crazy with this.
Yeah,
families, damn it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like the same thing. Like there's some things like as a wrestling fan's bucket list of something that I just want to experience, like just go and see for myself. And yeah, no, that's actually one of the things. Like
let's go to a CCW show, Ryan.
I genuinely want to just go see a tournament of death just to see, like, all right, what are you guys into? Like, how are you really reacting? I think they have it in, it's not New Jersey, but it's some like random place every year.
I'm gonna look it up right now. The next time they're in Chicago, if they come to Chicago, we're going to a show, Ryan.
All right, so you're not invited.
Cool. So don't most deathmatch matches have fans like with like clear tarps covering them, so when blood splatters it doesn't get on them, and when glass flies it doesn't get on them. They have these clear tarps that cover them.
I didn't know that, but it wasn't.
I think I saw that. Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to chime in on that, there you go.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, but that's crazy.
Well,
I feel like at that point it's like Ron Funches said it best. The stand median, he was talking, or don't quote me on it because I'm probably going to get it wrong, but he was like, you realize part of the reason why I like it is because it is fake, right? Like that is part of the reason why I like he's like, if you want to watch it because you genuinely want someone to get hurt, there's something wrong with you.
Well said.
That is pretty good.
Well, I'm glad we can bring deathmatch wrestling to your dinner tables here tonight.
I mean, that's what it needs. That's what it needs. You never know what people could be, thinking on Thanksgiving. Like, what if there's like a time where your family's like acting up, and there's like between football games or something, and there's you need a little downtime. It's actually kind of
funny that you guys are saying this because a couple years ago I did I went on Daily Motion or whatever. And it was Thanksgiving, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and I watched CZW. So it's actually kind of hilarious that we're talking about this right now.
It is weird.
That is pretty weird.
There is sort of big news. Braun Strowman got injured. He injured his elbow. He's supposed to be out, I guess, for a few weeks. It's very similar to his, well, not, in terms of time, it's similar to his last injury where he was only gone for a few weeks, and then he picked up right where he left off. So kind of sucks, but I don't think he's not going to miss Mania or anything, so it's not gigantic injury news, thankfully. But
yeah,
just thought I'd mention it.
A couple weeks without Strowman is a couple weeks too long for me. He's become one of my favorite guys on the main roster. So,
you think he's ever going to win the title?
Oh, of course.
Why didn't he win it at whatever that show is called, Clown Jewel?
He's going to win it at Mania instead.
He's not going to win it at Mania.
He's going to win it at Mania, and you heard it here first.
All right, well, when you're wrong about that, just like I'll be wrong about the 2 shows, then we could talk about it on the podcast.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, and really quick, randomly, how sick was that RKO to Mysterio, where
Oh
Mysterio
my God.
slid to the outside to do a splash to the outside. Orton catches him with the RKO. That was sick.
When was this?
Last night.
Oh,
I was on a plane. Sorry,
Yeah,
not sorry.
I quote tweeted the GIF if you want to go look at it. It's so good.
You know what? I'm gonna
At
look
Luke
right now.
Cara.
Kara,
Luke
goddamn.
Kara, come on, Ryan. You know it's Kara. You know
You know
for
what?
how many?
I think I need to drop an R. That's what I need to do.
I don't. All right.
All right, I'm watching it. Live reaction to me watching it.
This is
Okay,
terrible
that was
podcasting.
cool. That was cool. Okay,
Yeah.
you know that thing where like Randy Orton like RKO someone like through like the Twitter screen, like they make it look like someone like does that. Like Rey Mysterio, you can easily edit out Rey Mysterio to make him look like he's flying like out of the Twitter screen. That's a pretty cool little Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
Pretty cool RKO right there. Shout out to Rey Mysterio for just coming up with that idea. And
I got some more news.
breaking news.
John Cena's coming back, gang. Can you believe it?
He's making his return.
I just really hope he doesn't do that punch.
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
that new move sucks, man.
That punch is horrid.
But he's scheduled for a list of appearances here. First one being the day after Christmas in Madison Square Garden at a live event. I think he's doing a couple of TVs. When's the Royal Rumble? Because his last scheduled date here is January 14th in Memphis.
Like the 26th or something.
Oh, I guess he's missing that. But he is going to be at Raw on January 7th. So I guess that's his TV return right there. So get ready, folks.
January 27th.
He's going to be at the Garden.
It's going to be in Orlando, Amway Center. Get your tickets now.
Well, on that
if they need help.
I don't have anything else to say.
Well, I'm just looking at the dirt sheets here, so that's why all these random things started to come up.
I've been watching the network this entire time.
What have you been watching?
Right now, we are starting Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon at Hell in a Cell.
Ooh, good match.
That's what I'm saying. Shane O'Mac, this guy, I want to say this. I hate the best in the world gimmick. I hate it. I genuinely dislike it. You can't. Whenever he comes out and they say, "Here comes the best in the world," I genuinely just hate it. But this guy, we have underappreciated him since his return. We've gotten too used to it. Before his match with Taker at 32, we were all like, this is awesome, Shane McMahon. And now we're just so used to it. I think we need to take a couple minutes. This guy, he is one of the best. He's one of the GOATs. I don't care
Tell
what
him,
anyone
babe.
says. And you know what? I'm jealous that Britain got to meet him and I didn't. But the fact of the matter is, one day.
One day for me, too. I shall meet the man.
I will literally pay $200 to meet him. I don't
Only
care.
$200?
You'll pay more.
I've paid $300 for people.
Yikes.
Ooh, spill.
I paid $300 for Sting at 31. I paid $300
of
for
course.
Undertaker at 32.
I don't think I could pay $300 to meet anybody.
Same.
To meet
And
the Undertaker and Sting, that was well worth it.
What's the most that you guys have paid? Tweet me at _Ryan.
Yeah, it's just him, though.
Yeah, I don't care about these two schmucks. They won't look at your tweets. They probably won't even like it. But the fact of the matter is, I'll respond, I'll do whatever because I'm the nice guy.
Well, because you do courtesy likes, you're a nice guy.
Yeah, go follow Ryan. We need to get Ryan over.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Ryan.
I guess. Why don't you follow all of us, gang? You know what? This is a 3-man operation. Well, it was 4-man operation. Sometimes a 5-man operation. Why don't you just follow all of us?
You know
Or you know what? Don't.
Why don't we just make a Twitter?
Why don't
You know what? No, because it would have 13 followers.
That's true. 10 actually. Why don't you get back to your Thanksgiving dinner? Stop avoiding everybody
Yeah, we're sorry for interrupting, gang.
Start avoiding us. You've been here for 30 minutes with us on your Thanksgiving. You could be listening to the Punk podcast from a couple years ago. You could be listening to something else. I don't know, like your family members complaining about why one side of the politics is not
Mandy
doing better
Rhodes.
than the other side of the politics or something like that. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, you were here to listen to this. I'm thankful. I don't know about these schmucks, as Ryan said. But yeah, that's about it. This is a pretty good podcast for Thanksgiving.
Mandy Rose.
Do you guys have anything else to say?
Mandy Rose. Oh, and one more thing, Mandy Rose.
What do you like, Tommy, now with the Alexa Bliss gimmick?
No, I like Nia Jax more. Oh,
Ryan, do you have anything else to say before we get into like an argument?
Follow me on Twitter at NoTweetRyan.
Follow me on Twitter at NoTweetRyan.
You can add me on MySpace at myspace.com/this is
No
the worst
MySpace,
podcast.
Luke.
You can use my lockers.com link to refer.
Go ahead and add me on Webkins.
And Photobucket.
Huge pop for that. All right, well, have fun. Go buy some stuff on Black Friday. And this was the worst podcast that I've ever heard.
Happy Thanksgiving!
See ya.